Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another market close. It is Monday, May 13th, 3:46 p.m. We are here for another market close. Did I say market open as soon as I started? I'm so used to saying market open. Market close. It's about 15 minutes until we get to 4 p.m. Close the markets. What an exciting day in the global capital equity markets. And obviously, one of the most exciting days topped off with a stock that seems to not be stopping. And I'm talking, of course, about GameStop up 69%. Of course, it's up 69% as we get towards the end of the day. And we're seeing it right here. At one point, GameStop was up 110%. Right now, GameStop 69% on the day. Although it has fallen a little bit from the top. I mean, it was hovering around 34 for a while, then 31, 32, then the 30s, now 29, 40. The price action has been absolutely incredible. I believe short sellers are down $1 billion today on the stock. I've got a lot of things I want to talk about in terms of what's going on with GameStop. We've had Openai release some news today, which is leading to Apple being up 2% on the day. Microsoft is what? Microsoft is relatively flat on the day, nothing too crazy. Google as well, back to being green at 168. It was at 164. And then you got a bunch of other stocks like Tupperware. That's up 34%. Spirit Airlines up 15%. Fubo up 11%. Cinemark Holdings up 4.69%. MPW, a hospital REIT, is up 15.59%. You've just got a lot of different stocks from a lot of different walks of life that are starting to wake up as a result of GameStop waking up as well. And so it's created a little bit of a, I guess, meme rally in the market. And my question now is going to be, is it sustainable or not? And I think that's what we're going to see. So let's start off with GameStop. I want to talk about what has happened since the beginning of the morning, especially for those that have not kept up with the news or have seen what has happened. We've got some updates from our Lord and Savior, Roaring Kitty, in terms of what he has put out on the Twitter sphere. And that should help implicate as well what's going on with the stock. After that, I do want to talk about a couple of other things in the macro. S&P still holding up dramatically in this 520 range and really not budging. It just turned red. It's 520.76, but still basically at all-time highs. I think that's very interesting. We've got CPI coming up in a couple of days, and if that's not too bad, then hopefully we can sustain this momentum. So let's start off from the beginning. In the morning, Roaring Kitty last night basically tweeted this picture, which is a meme from GameStop of him essentially getting into the zone. And once this came out, this got 19 million views. Roaring Kitty has so far achieved, let's see, he's at 784,000 followers. He was at 490 last night. So we're closing in on 300,000 people that have, those are 300,000 real people. That's not a joke. Like, that's a lot of people that have followed him. Since then, he's put out these videos of like clips from movies where he's essentially insinuating that he's back. It's time for him to, there's Ferris Bueller's Days Off. It's back for him to come into action, and he's going to get the job done. One of the memes also shows that, look, he just gained 200 followers while we're talking. One of the other memes showed that, he's coming back and he's not stopping, and he's going to continue to kind of do it himself. And as a result of that, we had GameStop up 21% in the pre-markets. Then we had GameStop up 31%. Then GameStop ended up going 40%. And then within about 20 minutes of the marketing opening, we went up 57%, 90%, and then 110% on the day. It was halted 6 or 7 times during this entire saga. Now GameStop here is back at up 70% on the day. While this has all been happening, one of the interesting things I've seen is that, and this right here, this tweet is E-Trade down for anyone else. This is tweeted by Sean, and I've seen a lot of tweets like this morning. Let me know in the chat if anyone had any issues with E-Trade. For me, I've been seeing a lot of is E-Trade down versus is Robinhood down tweets. In fact, this is a big account here from Jake, a good technical analysis chart, like charting account. And he's been basically saying, look, if Hood can show they're fully operational, other brokers are having trouble this morning. Not only is the technical setting up to be a bull flag, but from a sort of fundamental standpoint, all the other big brokerages are having trouble dealing with trades today. Whereas Robinhood, to my understanding, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, they had 0 issues this morning. They had some issues in the 24-hour market, but that's because it's an illiquid market. But in terms of the broader market, they've had zero issues to be able to execute what they needed to do. In fact, they put this notice out every time a stock is halted, but it was just more hilarious seeing this right here. You could see some stock exchanges, not Robinhood, have temporarily halted trading of GameStop. And you can see that they're making it very clear that, hey, we're going to be all right. You can buy your GameStop on this platform. So I think what we're seeing right now is the resurgence of the meme stock rally. The resurgence of the meme stock rally took Robinhood from number 22 on the App Store last night in the US Finance iOS store. It's at number 16 in less than 24 hours. Moving up 6 spots is not easy. I think it could crack the top 10 if GameStop goes up another 30, 40%. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But I realized this morning, wait a second, people are going to be downloading not Schwab or Fidelity, like the new people into the market, the people that have never heard of investing before that just want to, dibble into the game of GameStop. They're not going to download Schwab or Fidelity. They're going to download Robinhood to be able to engage with this. And if that's the case, there's going to be a ton of new people that are getting excited about Robinhood. Some people in the chat are telling me about AMC that because he's putting out all these movie memes, people are saying it's AMC. You know what? Even if it is, again, for me, I don't care too much. AMC right now is what? Wow, AMC's up 80%. Holy crap. Did anyone see this today? I didn't see this at all. Wow, that's more than GameStop. I really didn't see this today. I wasn't looking at AMC. I was looking at GameStop. Well, even if it is about AMC, the point is they're not going to be buying it on Schwab or Fidelity. They're going to be buying it on Robinhood. And so as long as Robinhood doesn't mess up this opportunity and close the buy button or do anything bad like that, then those people, is it annoying to me that they're choosing Robinhood to be able to buy these stocks? Not really. Like obviously they're not going to use Schwab or Fidelity, right? They're going to use Robinhood. Is it annoying that that is the stock of choice that they prefer? Yes, that's annoying because you don't want meme stock traders to be on the platform that, one day can rival Schwab and Fidelity. However, either they're going to make some money on this platform and they're going to start keeping their assets under custody on this platform and this is going to be their first introduction to investing, or they're going to lose some money and 99% of those people are going to be like, all right, I lost money investing. I'm never going to do it again. But the 1% that stay, they're like, okay, I lost some money here, but like, what is the stock market? What's it like, how do I buy and sell stock? And they start using Robinhood as their primary broker. That's going to create a lot of more accounts. People forget Robinhood added 4 million users in one quarter back in 2020 or 2021 because of this GameStop surge, right? GameStop went from $3 to $350. When a stock goes up that heavy, a lot of people want to know how they can get their hands on it. Same thing that happens with Bitcoin. They came to Robinhood. So to me, I did not think, one of the catalysts I had for Robinhood in 2024 was not Roaring Kitty would come back, basically get people excited about meme stocks. And as a result of those meme stocks getting an audience again, that potentially Robinhood would be a beneficiary of, which it seems very obvious they're going to be a beneficiary of just looking at the iOS App Store rankings. And so if that happens, I think there is room for the casino in which all these stocks are being played like Robinhood to benefit, and those stocks themselves will benefit. My skepticism is there enough energy, especially because the SEC now is watching Roaring Kitty? I mean, this is not a guy in his basement anymore. This is a guy who, if he pumps and dumps a stock, the SEC is going to know who he is, right? This guy literally had to do a testimony in Congress 3 years ago. So I don't know if he could pump and dump. I don't know if he can get his followers super excited about something and then sell and get away with it. I don't even know if he can do live streams and build this huge audience, given that it obviously would be pumping to an extent if he's like getting people interested. Whereas in 2021, he was just this random guy in his basement who was excited about a company. Maybe it's not necessarily pumping, or maybe he finds a different way to navigate it. But I'm curious how he approaches the limelight that is on him now, talking about a stock that potentially might be, not necessarily a stock that deserves to go higher on a fundamental basis and might just get pumped for arbitrary reasons. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out as well. He hasn't even said anything. He's tweeted memes. Well, that's the other thing. The SEC can't say anything to him. It's not like he said buy GameStop. He's just tweeting memes, which any free American is allowed to do. But if you read between the lines, you can kind of tell what some of those memes may represent. Here's Andrew Tate. We talked about him this morning. He's come out with another video, and I thought it was just kind of funny, which is why I want to share it. But Andrew Tate is now against the Matrix, and as a result of that, he is buying as much GameStop as he can get his hands on. So let's just watch some of the behavior that is starting to happen as a result of the GameStop rally today.
You can call me Top G, Top Diamond Hands. I am Diamond Hands on GameStop forever. Every single piece of GameStop I buy, I will never sell, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. I'm effectively just throwing money away. I'm donating money towards the cause that I never want to see again. And I'm going to buy as much of it as I possibly can. And I'll tell you why. We're in a spiritual battle, friends. Please understand, this is good versus evil. This is the common man against the system.
It's good. He's making this philosophical. So the people that are unfortunately not as intellectual, they're going to fall for this shit. But it is funny to see how he's playing this and how he's marketing it.
Matrix. And right now, as they continue to halt trading and make it more and more difficult for me to buy across multiple brokerages in different countries with different banks, it keeps halting for some reason. And the reason is there's some guy with a vaccine sitting in a room who's very upset that we're doing things we're not supposed to do. We're creating memes and we're laughing and we're having a joke. And he's pissed off because it's supposed to be the big corporate machine crushing the common man. He sits there with his shirt and tie and he wants everything to be the status quo while they rip us all off. And now we're doing something they don't like. So they're getting upset. And that matters because it's a spiritual battle. Him having a frown on his face and me laughing while I waste money, which I'm never going to get a return on, matters. Because in the grand scheme of life, morale is everything. It doesn't matter how capable an army is if it is not motivated. Morale is the bottom line. We must unite behind this cause. This is not about making profit. This is not about being successful on a trade. This is about pissing off some dork somewhere in Wall Street with a fucking vaccine and a tiny Johnson. That's what this is about. And I don't care what it fucking costs. I'm Diamond Hands till the end on GameStop.
I thought this was hilarious. And the reason I thought this was hilarious is because the problem with this argument, unfortunately, is, well, first of all, you see how it says join the army? This is the link he has on this. If you click on this thing, it's make money online. So this is his website, his academy, you could say. And if I join this thing, what is this worth? Yeah, it's $850 for 2 years, $50 a month. Okay, so he's not needing to make money on GameStop because you will pay $50 a month to learn how to make money with him and fight the Matrix, because he gets your attention, and the way he gets your attention is by telling you we must unite against the Matrix. Andrew Tate is clearly taking this as an opportunity to tap into a lot of attention, be able to become the guy who's leading the movement, and then monetize it in his own way. Now, the reason it's cringe to me is because Roaring Kitty, even when he was leading this movement back in 2021, that's not how he framed the movement, right? That this is the correct way in terms of how you create a battle. But the way he's saying it is so explicit that it almost becomes fake. Roaring Kitty was just a regular dude, not having this profound, vocabulary, just saying, yeah, guys, the stock is sold short, and these guys, they think they're so cool. Like we can prove they're wrong, right? This guy is trying to lead like a motivational. He's like leading a sermon across fucking 50,000 people in an arena or something, and it just makes it feel more fake when he does it that way. So this is obviously grifting. He's obviously trying to make a quick buck here, and I think people should be just a little skeptical of stuff like this. I think we're going to see a lot of stuff like this over the coming weeks in terms of how people interact and take advantage of the GameStop situation. Here's what CNBC has to say about this as well.
Stock though. And it had been up when Sarah was doing it at the top of the show, 110%. Yeah, the meme trade may very well be back. Roaring Kitty, remember that name of Wall Street Bets fame? He's returned, and shares of GameStop are up as a result. Stock's been halted 7 times since trading got underway. That's just in 45 minutes. So I don't even know if it's halted again. Let's get over to Kate Rooney. Just tell us what you're hearing and what's going on here, Kate.
Hey, David. Yeah, so this is Keith Gill's first online post we've seen in 3 years. Roaring Kitty, as he's also known, was, if you remember, really the Pied Piper of the meme stock frenzy in 2021. He led those online traders to the infamous GameStop short squeeze. This morning, posting kind of cryptic photo of somebody just leaning forward, excuse me, in a chair. And that was enough to send GameStop up, as you said, more than 100%. It has been halted for...
All right, we got the market closed. Let's get into it and let's see what else we got going on. Here we go. 4 p.m. today. The stock market, what a day it's been, is now closed. All right, market's closed, folks. AMC ends 79% on the day. S&P 500, 521, basically flat on the day, up 0.01%, so not any crazy movement there. Google, 169 on the day. Microsoft here at 413. GameStop up 74% on the day. So AMC and GameStop basically ending up about 74 to 79% here on the day. Apple 186. We'll talk more about Apple in a little bit, but Apple is green as well. Apple up nice 1.76%, which is, I think $10-15 billion of Apple in market cap that they got today. So not bad at all for Apple. Tupperware, TUP, this was up 41% on the day. MPW Medical Property Trust, this is up 16% on the day. Hershey's was up 209. We talked about this on the market open as well. Bitcoin, one interesting chart that Carlos actually tweeted that I thought was really interesting is the alts in comparison to Bitcoin, the altcoins in comparison to Bitcoin. So if you look at this right here, we're seeing altcoins start to fade out in terms of their momentum. Cardano, Ethereum, whereas Bitcoin is gaining momentum. So all the alts, or some of them are down, some of them are up today, but they're not up as much as Bitcoin. Bitcoin recovering very nicely today, up here 2.9% at 63,000. So nice to see that Bitcoin starting to gain a little bit more dominance, and what you kind of want to see in a Bitcoin bull market where the alts start bleeding out back into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, is the one that really matters in the long term in terms of momentum. So we got Bitcoin right there up 3.2%. SoFi 7-Eleven up 2.45% of the day. SoFi did try to go higher. Even Robinhood tried to get to like 1750. Now it's 1689. So both of those still beaten down by the market. Robinhood still up 4% of the day. So nice move by Robinhood. SoFi still up 2.45%, but they were up a little bit more at the beginning of the day. Netflix up another 1% on today. 616 HIMS up 5%, $12.89. ARM Holdings, wow. ARM at 117. There was some news about ARM coming out with a new set of products in regards to AI chips, essentially competing with NVIDIA. So not just building something that NVIDIA would like to use and something that other manufacturers use, but actually going toe-to-toe with NVIDIA. That news seems to have it up 7% on the day. Their earnings were good. Their earnings were not phenomenal. Is it worth $121 billion? Is it growing into the valuation? I still think no. I still think $121 billion is a bit ridiculous for a company like ARM. But in the AI space, if this is, the stocks that are going to be eventual monopolies, then ARM, you could argue, is a monopoly. And so the market's willing to give a little bit more of a premium to pay. I'm looking at earnings after hours today. There's nothing that interesting. We have Wolf, which I believe is the Bitcoin miner, WULF, TeraWolf. It's up 0.45%, nothing too crazy today. In the morning, we didn't have, in the morning, May 13th, we had nothing interesting. Tomorrow, we have Home Depot, Alibaba, Sony, C Limited, On, that sneaker brand, and then Nubank and Rumble after hours, which is going to be interesting. Oh, Rumble, that's one we haven't talked about at all. I feel like Rumble should be up today. Rumble is indeed up today, 3%. Rumble gets kind of put into that meme stock category as well. If there's a run, Rumble might see a little bit of momentum as well. Amit, are you covering new earnings tomorrow? Yeah, I'm covering new earnings. We're probably not going to watch the call, but I will cover the earnings themselves. New is a very interesting Latin American company. It's one of the fastest growing fintechs on the planet, definitely the fastest growing in Latin America, 1138. It's up 40% since October 2023, which is not bad when it was around $7. And so we'll see if it can maintain the momentum. But that's what we got on Nubank right now. Google here, 169, and then S&P at 520. Now, Microsoft OpenAI did release some features today. I did go live, and honestly, the live stream was a bit boring because it was some pre-recorded event. We thought it was going to be Sam Altman on the big stage talking about interesting things, and it really wasn't. It was basically them showing that they now have a multimodal AI, which is really impressive, but I thought the use cases of it were not that impressive. And so it's called GPT-4o, our new flagship model that can reason across audio, vision, and text in real time. To me, it's like an iPhone 5S before we get the iPhone 6. Because, it's not really the big thing everyone thought they were going to get. More tools for ChatGPT free users. And then they'll show the demo. You can watch it on your own. But basically, they just start talking to the phone, and the phone starts talking back to them. And it can recognize their voice in real time. And it's cool. It's just not oh my God, this is so exciting, And I really hope Apple and WWDC has some better demos than this thing that they showed on the screen, because it just wasn't that exciting. What's also interesting to me about Apple is that if Apple chooses to go with OpenAI as their operating system for iOS 18, does that mean that now they have to work in tandem with OpenAI for the sequential releases? So if OpenAI releases GPT-5 and Apple's hey, GPT-5 is going to power iOS 18, does GPT-6 become that important for iOS 19, right? How does that kind of frame itself there in terms of GPT and iOS if they become, if they're a symbiotic relationship around how they operate? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, but it seems like they're going to be working together, and Apple will benefit from GPT as it continues to go harder. Sean here in the chat says, not advice. I picked up Jan 16th, 2026, $5 puts on GameStop, 100% lottery play. Not concerned if it leaves me at 0. Let's actually look at that put right now. So GameStop, Jan 2020. So he's buying leap puts essentially. $5 put, buy $5 put. It'll cost you $100, $1 a share. So you could buy a $5 put on GameStop. This assumes GameStop will go to $5 in 2 years for $100. And if it actually gets that low, or if it at least continues to go down from here, the contract could be more valuable and you could sell it to someone else before then. Interesting move. I mean, I think a lot of people are probably buying calls right now, doing the opposite of Sean, which is why he's going against the crowd, which is probably the right thing, or at least historically has been a contrarian thing to do, which has worked out. But that is a strategy to operate on. Look, I don't think GameStop has anything fundamental around it. And I think most smart investors know that there's nothing fundamental here. People are like, oh, why aren't you buying shares just to even participate in the fun of it? Is because I don't think it's fun, quite frankly. I mean, I thought it was fun in 2021. Now I think this is just stupidity. I think this is degeneracy that, it's fun to be a degen sometimes and just mess around. And I'm all for that. But like when you're really trying to build a portfolio and you don't have money that you can throw away, like I don't have right now, then it's not really fun. It's just stupid in my opinion. And could it run up higher? Yes. And if you want to participate in that and enjoy the fun, then be my guest. But it's also one of those things where I don't know what the long-term thesis is, even from an ideological perspective. In 2021, the thesis was very simple. It was 140% sold short. Hedge funds were borrowing shares that didn't exist, thinking they could get away with it. Now it's 24% sold short. And so now I think even if the hedges cover, you're going to need so many buyers stepping in to really make sure this thing sustains momentum. And maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. But I don't know if that would continue to be able to keep it going. LOL, amidst the old guy, get off my lawn. Yeah, pretty much when it comes to GameStop, pretty much. Now, granted, I should be happy that GameStop's running, and I do hope it runs another 100%. Because Robinhood's going to benefit. I mean, it's just that simple. It's a top 10 holding across Robinhood. They're going to get so many more users. Those people that are buying GameStop for the first time, the degens, they're not buying it on Schwab or Fidelity. Maybe the people that hate Robinhood will buy it on Schwab and Fidelity, but most people don't even know what happened with Robinhood in 2021. They're going to be introduced to it for the first time. It's basically free marketing for Robinhood. So if this thing runs another 100%, I actually wouldn't mind at all. I would not be, I would not be the old man in that situation. I just don't want to participate in that. Because A, I don't have enough cash to have a sizable position where it would be fun. B, it's just I just don't know if there's a real movement here. Like in 2021, there was a real movement, real thesis. The numbers made sense. You would pile in. Here, I kind of just feel like Roaring Kitty's back just for the hell of it, and I don't know if that's enough to get this thing to keep pumping. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how this one ends up playing out. AMC as well. I mean, this thing is interesting. If now, here's the thing. If Roaring Kitty is not focused on GameStop and he's focused on AMC, or he's focused on another stock, then everyone's completely, interpreted him in the wrong way. And who knows? Maybe he comes out and he says, hey, there's something else that I'm interested in. I guess we'll see what he ends up saying. But we will learn a lot more over the next few years. He probably had a 3-year gag order. That could be true as well. Maybe he was signed for 3 years because he had a gag order, or maybe he wanted kind of the world to burn. Because think about when he left once the markets crashed, everything crashed, crypto, stocks, everything. And now he's back when it seems like the markets are back to normal. It's just, we have a lot of inflation we're dealing with. We don't have stimulus checks, and we're JPow's trying to orchestrate a soft landing. So he's coming back in a really interesting time. I don't know if we're, out of the blue yet, but maybe he thinks we're out of the blue, which is why he's ready to come back in. We'll finish CNBC's coverage on this, and then we'll move on from here.
Volatility. Robert Hum just sent out a note explaining this. He said trading activity for GME has been only 10 minutes. The rest of the day has been halted, and even with just 10 minutes of trading, the stock did 3.5 times the normal volume. But it's not just GME, guys. Other so-called meme stocks like AMC are also catching a bid. It is one sign of overall risk appetite increasing. You'll also see that showing up in the options market, especially for the most volatile corner of that, ultra short maturities, once really reserved for professional traders. 0 days to expire options have climbed in popularity among everyday investors. These are one-day bets on the direction of the market which can offer outsized returns, rewards, and also outsized risk. Last week, retail activity in 0 DTE options, as they're known, saw the biggest weekly sales since the beginning of the year. That's according to JP Morgan. They are making up a larger slice of overall options trades out there. And meanwhile, there has been less buying of some of the safer proxies for cash. Vanda Research points out slowing flows into money market funds after this surge of inflows as rates started to rise. Vanda says all of this new risk appetite is a function of chasing rising risk asset prices.
So risk on assets seem to be back. And I'm trying to convince myself that this is not a top of the market. And, you know, when stuff like this tends to happen, the obvious sort of conventional idea is like, all right, we're at a top, right? Like we shouldn't have this much money to be able to pour into companies and equities and NFTs, et cetera. That shouldn't be worth this. So people have excess liquidity. Therefore, we need something to happen, something to break. I don't think this is a top because all the macro data I'm looking at shows me that inflation is coming down and things are going to get really good as interest rates get cut for a period of time, and then things will break. So I don't think it's a top, but it feels like a top, which is why it's a weird sort of situation. Like this is obviously showing that this is a top. Like this is something where you should sell, take your profits, and get the hell out. But it's also one of those things where like it's such a unique phenomena happening in the middle of a potential soft landing, one of the most historic soft landings on the planet, with an excess of $6 trillion on the sidelines waiting to be able to get more than 5.5% as soon as the Fed cuts interest rates. CPI potentially coming in at 3.4%, which means we're at least on the trajectory of a declining CPI over a rising CPI over the past 4 months, which has been rising versus declining. It's hard to imagine that this is actually like the time where the markets necessarily go to shit. Also, the jobs report, AMC right here up another 5% after hours, GameStop down about 1% after hours. The jobs report is showing that people are losing jobs and that more people are claiming unemployment, which is good for inflation. That means inflation is going to come down. That is going to be good for risk assets. Make no mistake about it. The key here about the jobs report is that it's not excessive. So we added, 20,000 people more than expected that wanted to get unemployment, but that's not 500,000 people. Right. So like the velocity of the magnitude of the amount of people that actually are applying for unemployment or losing their jobs and the speed at which is that's happening is minimal. And so we are seeing things break in the economy with the job numbers at a very, naive level looking at that one data point. But it's not to the point where it's so fast, where the speed is so exciting, where the Fed needs to immediately think, oh, something's breaking, we need to lower rates, which is why we're in such a unique time. So this whole GameStop thing is happening out of nowhere during all this macro data that the Fed is trying to make sense of. It makes me believe it's not a top, but it definitely makes me feel a little uneasy given it's happening right here. And if a lot of people get burned on this and lose a lot of money and the money ends up just going back to the hedge funds, it also is definitely not going to be good for the same people that maybe don't have a job that are throwing their life savings into GameStop, which I'm sure it's happening in some capacity. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are not doing that, but there's a lot of people out there in the world that think this is going to be their get rich ticket, and they would do that as well. So we'll see how it plays out. David says Amit will soon be able to move markets like Roaring Kitty. One of the comments said, Amit, what would you do if Roaring Kitty chooses to invest in Palantir? Or if he says Palantir is a stock? Dude, if Roaring Kitty comes out and says, hey guys, it's time to buy Palantir, I don't even know what I would do, dude. Like, I don't know how it's like, if he says Palantir or Robinhood, which look, he's not going to do that, right? But let's just assume he does. It's going to be crazy because it's like everyone's going to start searching Palantir, and they're probably going to come across my content, and it's going to be insane if that's the company. Now, there's no way that's the company because Palantir is not short, so there's no thesis there. He would have to actually believe in the fundamentals of the company. That's not how Roaring Kitty tends to invest. If it's Robinhood, I think there's a hell of a thesis there, but that's not sold short either. So there's like he would have to like believe in Robinhood, and there's no way, dude. The GameStop people hate Robinhood. There's no way he would go against this cult like that. So it has to be AMC or GameStop, and I'm just curious which one is it, and when is he going to admit it, and how is he going to eventually introduce the next thing that he's trying to do. Holo is a short at 75%. That is correct. I've been seeing that Holo is shorted as well. That's another one. There's a lot of these guys that are starting to be shorted. I made a post today about all the stocks that are shorted. I'm going to update that with even more companies. But as you can see right here, you've got GameStop that's shorted heavily. You've got MPW, Hospital REIT, 37%, GameStop, 24%, TUP, 24%, SoFi, 19%. I think SoFi is a candidate to get a little pump if people actually get excited about it being an online bank. And then MicroStrategy, 21%. The sad part about SoFi is that there's 1 billion shares outstanding. 184 million that are sold short, and no one has been able to rile up the troops and like get people to like go against SoFi, right? Or to like stick it to the hedge funds that are shorting SoFi. So there has not been the roaring kitty of the SoFi world yet. And you would imagine SoFi is like, dude, there's a lot of people on the internet that own SoFi. I mean, if you just go on Twitter and you type in SoFi, there's sometimes I think it's more than Palantir, the amount of people that are talking about SoFi. And the volume on SoFi, I think the average volume is a little bit higher than Palantir. So if there was ever going to be a roaring kitty for a company, I think like for SoFi, it should exist, but it just hasn't gotten the attention of people. GameStop and AMC have. And as a result, you're looking at a stock that's up 74% today. Who bought GameStop? Put in the chat. Who bought GameStop this morning as well? How did Carvana not make that list? I actually forgot about Carvana, to be honest. Someone put it in the comments. Carvana sold, I think, 40% short as well. But the thing about Carvana is they already pumped. So this thing is up 128% year to date. I don't know if there's a lot left in this one. It was at $40 in February. Now it's at $130. Today it's at $117. So this was a good pump. This happened. But now Carvana, there is a little bit of a thesis there. They're profitable, right? They posed a real profit. And so they're starting to improve as a company. So I don't think it's just like mindless pumping. Whereas AMC or GameStop, who knows? Now, here's the other plot twist. What if Roaring Kitty actually believes that he has information around AMC or GameStop that's like good for the company? Like, what if he knows GameStop's going to be profitable next quarter, that GameStop's going to unveil some really big product that's going to change their business? Or what if he knows that AMC is going to build, the Netflix of AMC, and they're going to have this direct to consumer offering, and they're going to totally pivot the company? Like, what if he knows something, or he thinks he knows something that none of us know? Remember, back in 2020, he knew the asymmetric opportunity around the shorting of these stocks, and all it took was like looking it up, and he found that out, right? And then he just started making his due diligence public. If he knows something, that it's kind of, what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the hip hop beef going on between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. For those that are hip hop fans, if you're not a hip hop fan, basically these two guys are going at each other. They're going for song. They're trying to expose each other, trying to like say, I had sex with your wife, or your kid's not even your kid, right? All these salacious accusations. And a lot of it came down to, at the end, I think Kendrick Lamar ended up winning the beef, even though I'm a massive Drake fan. A lot of it came down to who had more dirt on the other person and who had access to intel that was more exciting on the other person. And maybe when it comes down to GameStop or AMC, it's also a question of, does Warren Kitty know something that the rest of the world doesn't know? Because he's pretty damn confident in some of these tweets. I mean, like the way he's tweeting, it's almost like he can't lose. And it's very scary when he's at 795,000 followers, dude. This guy's going to be at 1 million followers pretty soon. And it's just insane. He just tweeted something else. Let's look at this. He just tweeted something else. He's tweeting like he can't lose. And my question is, does he know something that everyone doesn't know? Sean says, Drake and Kendrick is not different than all this stuff. It's manufactured for views 1,000%. And it seems like he's manufacturing his narrative for views as well. All right, here's what he just tweeted 18 minutes ago.
Stop spinning yarns about me, eh?
Oh, I'm just trying to sell you to them, Tom.
But the main thing is, you bunch of fuckers, despite the provocation from the cavalry, no fighting. No fighting. No fucking fighting. No fighting. No fucking fighting! Good. Get the fuck in.
I had more complicated strategies in mind. It's going to be a busy few weeks, brother.
Yeah.
See, dude, this is so. I'm not gonna lie. I don't own the stock, but it's incredibly interesting, dude. It feels like we're trying to be Sherlock Holmes out here, trying to like, what is his message? Well, with no fighting. So that's the takeaway from this clip. What does he mean by that? Is he trying to tell the cult to not fight with each other and to stick together? And I know this is from a show called Peaky Blinders, right? I haven't watched the show, but it's from Peaky Blinders, I would imagine. This is the guy who played Oppenheimer. No fighting, huh? Interesting. What do you guys think that means? What do you think that means? Clearly, he's pointing to SoFi. Sean says this is the speech he does before his lacrosse games. I love it. It's going to be a busy few weeks. Yup, that's another quote from this. What does this all mean? What does this all mean? This is the interesting part. This is the part that's actually incredibly exciting to take a look at, dude. GameStop here at $30.45. And look, here's the thing. In this age of social media, I mean, like there is a reason why these CEOs are starting to engage with retail, right? There's a reason Vlad came on the channel. There's a reason Karp wants to take a photo. Like, they recognize that there are people on the internet that have influence, not just the CNBCs of the world. This one guy tweets one picture, stocks up 70% in a day. Adds, was it $4 billion of market cap to a company that one could argue should be bankrupt right now. Obviously, the world is going through a fundamental paradigmatic shift on how people have more influence on other people because they can trust those people, when Roaring Kitty has way more trust than any anchor on CNBC, because he seems as he's for the people. And I don't necessarily know if that's 1000% true, but that is the perception, and that perception is reality. And his following account going up 300,000. Dude, I don't think I've seen growth like that. The only person who grows like that is Elon. Elon gets like 100,000 followers a day. And that's because he's the first account recommended as soon as you sign up for Twitter. I haven't seen someone get 300,000 followers in less than 24 hours. I haven't seen that happen. Literally, I checked his account, at 11 p.m. last night? It's 4 p.m. It's not been 24 hours. He has 7 more hours to go before it's 24 hours, and he's probably going to get closer to 850,000. That's almost 400K in a day. 400,000 people that said, I don't, maybe I know this guy, maybe I don't know this guy, but I'm just going to be part of this movement, especially because everyone's been hyping up his photo, right? Everyone's been quote tweeting it and retweeting. That's how things go viral. 400,000 people saying, you know what? I want to play a role in this. I mean, it's really incredible. It's really incredible to see how this plays out. Kohl's is 90% short. Interesting. I actually go to Kohl's a lot because my mom orders like 17 trillion things every day from Amazon. And as a result of that, she makes me go return 17 trillion things every day from Amazon. So Kohl's allows you, they have a partnership with Amazon where you can return stuff for free. 33% of Kohl's is sold short. Interesting. Where's Kohl's today? Was it up today? KSS. Kohl's. Wow. Kohl's was up 8% today. This is insane. There's no reason for Kohl's to be up today, dude. There's no, oh my gosh, bro. 2.87 billion market cap. They added like 200 million today in market cap. They have a 7% dividend yield. What? Kohl's has a 7% dividend yield? Dude, this is, oh my gosh. Some of these stocks are actually kind of interesting because that dividend yield, if the numbers aren't too bad, maybe that's one that's actually worth taking a look at. But again, I don't think Kohl's runs up 8. They didn't have earnings today. I think they are only running up because the market's looking at stocks that are short and they're conspiring around if those stocks deserve to get pumped a bit. Can you look at Kava? Kava has a high short float as well, I think. My friend had Kava. Oh, I think Arnie, when he had Kava in DC the day before I got there, and he liked it. Kava is 13%, so not as aggressive as some of the others, but it is 13% short as well. Lena says, so with the memes coming back, does this mean the market goes down? No one really knows, Lena. I mean, with the memes coming back, this actually means certain equities like a GameStop or AMC should theoretically go higher if people buy into the narrative around the memes. I mean, again, all of this is human psychology and tribal perceptions of how the tribe should operate. And when you're in a tribe, you operate in a particular way. And the thing about our human nature is that we are so inclined to be in a tribe. Why? Because it gives us home. It gives us community. If you look at neighborhoods that are not the best neighborhoods from an infrastructure perspective, gangs are very popular there because a lot of the times those gangs provide a home to people that don't find home or family or any type of community in their own households. And so when people join a tribe, they're looking for something greater than themselves. I mean, the whole concept of religion is oriented around finding an idea that you can believe in and then being with other people to believe in that idea. GameStop and AMC, I think, are 1000% religions to certain subsets of the population. The question is, how powerful are those religions? Because when a religion becomes a religion, whether it's in the context of like believing in something higher than yourself or like it's, a way of life, if it can encapsulate a lot of people to act in a certain way. I mean, every company is trying to figure out how they can make their brand a cult at the end of the day to, free up their marketing dollars so that they can get organic word of mouth and marketing and traffic. All of this stuff is the same with AMC and GameStop. My skepticism today is how many people on the planet actually care enough to buy into this mission like they did in 2021. And in 2021, a lot of people cared. For whatever reason that they cared, a lot of people, probably the pandemic had a lot to do with it, right? People were trapped in their homes. They were shut down. They felt like they needed to believe in something greater than themselves. That's another thing. I just thought of that. Like when people were shut down in their homes, not only were they more interested in investing, not only did they have stimulus checks they could spend on things like GameStop and AMC, but they also were bored, right? And they needed something to believe in. Whereas now the world has opened up and things have changed. I don't know if that same environment exists in the way that it was back then. Yeah, look at the 5-year chart. Yeah, we looked at this morning, Sean. It's absolutely insane. I mean, so after they've done some splits, but basically went from $1 in August of 2020 to $120, which is 800x in 5 months, guys. It's just insane. I know there's some people in the chat that probably made some good money off GameStop. Could that happen again? Again, I'm skeptical on it because I just don't think enough people are going to care about the mission. I know on a green day, everyone thinks this thing's going to be green forever, but we've seen, how green days end up turning into red days. And B, the stock's just not sold short the way it was back in August of 2020. And so unless it gets back to those levels, which unless the hedge funds double down, which back then Melvin Capital, they doubled down with another $1 billion and they lost like $5 billion. If that's not going to happen, I don't know how the gamma squeeze is going to occur from the shorts covering. It's going to happen if there will be a gamma squeeze. And even today we saw the resemblance of a gamma squeeze, but 100x gamma squeeze. I don't know if the stock's just not sold short enough, I think, for that to happen. But we'll see. We'll see how it ends up playing out. Endless Awareness says, yes, admit people like Tate are dangerous because they know people need a tribe. Taking advantage of the vulnerable is a huge issue. That's the other thing. I think there's a lot of people like Andrew Tate. We watched that video where he's going to say, hey, all you people that are against the matrix and against the machine and against the suits, buy into my way of living. I'll be your leader. I'm going to buy GameStop. He's going to spend $1 million on GameStop. It's a marketing expense for him. He doesn't have to sell, even though he probably will dump it, to be able to say, hey, enter my community and then buy all my products and services that are going to give you salvation. And we're going to use GameStop as like the marketing for getting people into the community and believing that there is hope for them and their lives. And it speaks to the state of capitalism as well. I think GameStop is definitely a response to the wealth inequality that exists in the United States. I don't think buying a meme stock is the way to resolve wealth inequality, but that is something that people like Andrew Tate are going to definitely get into as well. Also, in the context of the hedge funds, they are short strategic companies that they feel are overvalued. And in 2021, shorting a company more than 100% and borrowing shares that didn't even exist, that was like pigs, right? That was pigs being greedy about how much money they can make. And so that there was your catalyst for the people in GameStop to be like, we need to show the hedge funds they can't just keep doing this and getting away with it. That's not the case this time. Now they're shorting it from a more like, hey, the company sucks. They've had 4 years to change. They haven't changed. Let's short it and let's make some money. I don't know if people are going to be as motivated this time to stick it to these guys, given they're not being as egregious as they were back in 2021 with the stock. And so the people that try to bring up the narrative that we've got to go against the matrix and the machine that's putting you in this horrible position because you're not able to make a living, but because the hedge funds are stealing all the money, it's like there's a disconnect for me logically with that message. Maybe there's not for a lot of people. And if there's not, maybe there's enough money in the world to buy into that dream. But I guess we're going to see how that plays out over the coming weeks. AMC is up 10% after hours, so AMC is moving as well. Yeah, it's up 10.9%, up 11% right now. AMC is the obvious next bet because it's cheaper theoretically than GameStop, right? It's $5. GameStop's $30. People think, okay, I could buy 500 shares of AMC versus maybe 30, 40 shares of GameStop. So, I mean, there are going to be people that just ape into it. But we're going to have to see if, who's the cult leader for AMC. Because if the Roaring Kitty guy is the GameStop dude, who's going to be the AMC dude? I think the last guy was Trey Trades, but he shut down his channel a while ago. He was the dude, Trey Trades. He shut down like in end of 2022. Yeah, this guy right here. If he makes a video coming back, that would be interesting. That would be this guy right here, Trey Trades. You guys remember this guy? Yeah, he got rid of all of his videos. No, his live streams are still up. But he had 300,000 subscribers, and then 3 years ago he left. And yeah, it's so interesting, dude. It's so interesting. It can be you, Amit. No, I would I would not like that to be. See, the way I think about my role, at least for Palantir, is I really think the company is exceptional, and I'm analyzing the company the best I can, trying to give my due diligence around the company. And hopefully people find that valuable. And is it a cult? Yes, but it's fun because we're analyzing something real, right? I mean, we're analyzing an Oracle partnership. We're analyzing the Titan contract. We're analyzing Ukraine's role with Palantir. Like, there's real shit we're looking at, you know? Whereas GameStop and AMC, I don't think anything's real there. I think it's all narrative. Whereas Palantir, I think it's like 80% something real, 20% narrative. That narrative is just really fun for us to discuss because it's hypercharged by something real, which are all the deals we see, all the analysis, you know, the way management conducts themselves and how they think about AI and the future of LLMs and the enterprise, all that stuff. And that's what makes that cult more exciting to me to be a part of. But AMC is just, I think there's a big thing people can fall into when they decide that AMC is the movement and I want to be part of it, because if there's nothing fundamentally there, the harsh reality of the stock market is shit's going to hit the fan one day. And we saw that with Palantir when it fell to $6. Shit definitely hit the fan for me. I mean, the amount of fucking hate comments I had to deal with every day, like, it was rough, right? But I stayed because I was like, well, but this is a real company. Like, every day I kept telling myself when I made another video, I was like, I'm making a video on a new deal because the deal is real. And I know the stock's in the gutter, but like, this is a real deal. Whereas AMC, as the stock's been in the gutter for the past couple of years, what do you make content about? Like literally, what do you talk about? There's nothing to talk about because it's all fake. And then the management's diluting the shit. There's nothing real. And that's why I would never want to be like the guy who takes advantage of it from that brand perspective, because you're setting yourself up for short-term gain. Let's see if AMC pumps, 5, 10x. But long-term, there's nothing really there to believe in. And so it'll be interesting. But now, granted, look, let's do an experiment right now. Let's go to YouTube. Let's just search these stocks. Let's search these stocks and let's see what people are saying. So let's just search GameStop stock. All right. So we got Meet Kevin talking about it. We got me right there. We've got the Masked Investor. I don't know who this guy is. How many subs does he have? Let's see. This guy has 64,000 subs. Okay, so this dude's talking about it. The Economic Ninja. How many subs does this guy have? This guy has 56,000. All right, so you can see a lot of big YouTubers start to talk about it now. Lottery Stocks. This guy, how many subs does he have? He has 19,000. So you're seeing a lot more people start to discuss and see what's happening. This random dude, Martin's Rants. This guy has 9,000 subs. So a lot of these accounts are going to start being the guy that discuss all of this. Let's type in AMC and let's see. And I'm sure a ton of new channels are going to start to pop up. Okay, so we got this guy, Tony, who's live right now analyzing AMC. Moneymaker, this dude's analyzing AMC. Mikey Money. There's just so many people, dude. This guy has 2,000 subscribers. I mean, think about this right now. This guy has 2,000 subscribers. How long has he been talking about AMC? He's been talking about AMC for like 5 months. Look at this. All of his videos, AMC. So now, once he finally gets his squeeze, this guy must be going crazy that it's finally happening. And now he's, this is what he's going to build his brand around. My thing is that this is a very dangerous thing to do. Because, I mean, once you get into this world and you're seen as like the guy who leads the movement around AMC, you have to really ask yourself, what? And, I had this conversation with myself back when Palantir was in that $6-7 range, because I realized as my videos were catching momentum, even though the stock was in the gutter, that just showed you how many people still cared about the company, even when it was stuck. I was like, do I want to be the guy that ends up being the guy when it comes to Palantir? And at that moment, I was just like, I don't think I would mind that, because at the end of the day, every person who makes it in the investing community, I mean, makes it in a big way, Kathy Wood, Bill Ackman, Ross Gerber, like people that really build a name for themselves, they have to get one right. And they have to get one right that is contrarian enough, but, deep enough to be like one of those life-changing investments. And for me, I was like, I think Palantir is going to be that company for me. And we'll still see if it ends up being that company over the next couple of years. But I was okay with that. If you think AMC or GameStop is going to be the life-changing investment that, helps you manage a couple $1 billion one day and manage client assets and things of that nature because you got AMC or GameStop right. First of all, I don't think institutional investors would trust you just because you got a meme stock, right? If you're trying to think of it just from a business perspective. Number two, from a media perspective, AMC's up 20% after hours. So AMC's exploding. From a media perspective, I don't think anything will be left after the pump, which is what happened. By May 2021, there was nothing left to talk about when it came to GameStop or AMC. I think by May 2027, there will still be a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Palantir, because I think it's going to be like a Tesla-like story that over the next decade, there's just going to be a lot of growth and a lot of movement, etc. And if it's not, then I'm wrong. So there's still a risk I'm taking there. But if I'm right, which I think I'll be more right than wrong, then there's a shot you can really build a brand off that. But AMC and GameStop, I just don't think there's anything over the next few years, maybe even over the next few months after this thing dies down. One guy turned 27,000 into 2 million. Okay, let's go to Wall Street Butts. Let's go to Wall Street Bets. Let's see what's going on with Wall Street Bets. So that's my point. That's my answer to people that are like, oh, why don't you like tap into this? Is because there's nothing to tap into, man. There's like from my analysis of social media and the financial ecosystem, financial media, really learning what it means to build a name for yourself, a brand for yourself. I mean, look at Kathy, dude. She got Tesla right, but she has like 17 things wrong. So it's really hard for her, to live with that. You don't want to be in the GameStop AMC camp just for the hell of it, for the short-term gain. There's no value there. At least not in my opinion. Okay, so let's go to Wall Street Bets. So what do we have right here? So trending on Wall Street Bets, you got AMC, BlackBerry, GameStop. Those are the top three trending. We got this guy right here, put in $30 calls, 80 grand into June 24th, $30 calls for GameStop. He's down 45% since he bought it. Okay. But he did. We got another YOLO. There you go. There's the Robinhood screenshots. This guy bought $40 call options. He's up 130%, 12,000. He bought them. Oh, he actually bought them March 13th. So he bought them a couple months ago. They expire in July. And what do you know? GameStop's actually kind of close to $40. It's at 32 after hours right now. GME, AMC's up 18%. GME is up 4%, $31 after hours for GameStop. Here's another one. This guy put in 25,000 into GameStop. He bought 820 shares. Look at the volume, dude. I didn't even see that. 114 million in volume on GameStop. Right now, GameStop the volume is 178 million for the day. 178 million for the day. The calls were $25 for May 17th. Is this yours in the chat? We got LB saying, I know that the calls were $25. Are you the screenshot? Are you in the chat right now? No, that's crazy. I love that, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. If we've got anyone in the chat who's up big on some of these plays, feel free to let us know. And then you got 21 hours ago, Roaring Kitty. Wow, this thing got 31,000 upvotes on Reddit. Goodness gracious, dude. There's 9,000 people online right now and 15 million members of Wall Street Bets. This should be good for Reddit stock because there's more engagement, more users. And again, this should be good for Robinhood because people are going to be buying a lot of this stuff on their platform and get those AUC to be higher, assets under custody. AMC's volume is 487 million. Oh my God, dude. This has got to be a joke, dude. This is insanity. 488 million shares of AMC have been traded. Wow. That's a lot of momentum built in, dude. That can create a pump. That can create a heavy pump. Goodness gracious. So there you go. That's what we got. All right, what else is going on in the market? And let's talk about a couple other things before we end it. Palantir at $20.95. We've got CPI coming up. Let's see some coverage on CPI. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty scared about CPI because I have no idea what it's gonna come in. Consensus says around 3.4. If it's not 3.4, it's gonna be a little tough to imagine what it comes in. I mean, if it comes in at 3.5, 3.6, market's going to, that's going to be interesting too. If CPI comes in hot, but GameStop and AMC continue to rally, I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it be? Like if the meme stocks actually are the hedge against inflation because of just how they're working. I mean, that would be pretty damn interesting. I don't think that would play out. I think it would actually be bad for them, but if it does, that would be That would be quite the story. Davis says, Amit has no idea, like this dude doesn't have Jerome's personal cell phone number. You know, I try to call Jerome and he doesn't really answer. But unfortunately, you know, hopefully he answers the call when it comes to getting these rate cuts. And in order for him to do that, interest rates have to indeed come down. Let's get an update from Goldman Sachs on where they think the market's going and what's holding up the S&P 500 right now. And we'll keep going from there.
Investors grappling with rising inflation ahead of two key reports this week. Joining me back now, Post 9, to share her outlook is Sarah Nason-Tarahano, who runs the global family office business at Goldman Sachs Private Wealth. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
So
Very happy to be here.
You deal with the longest of long-term money.
That's right.
Probably the least tactical in a sense of any kind of private wealth related investors. What does that mean in how the outlook is, generally speaking, on a perspective of where the markets are going?
Yeah, look, I think it's a great question. And as you mentioned, you know, family offices are managing money for generations. They're not answering to a board of directors. They're not necessarily thinking as much about how markets move day to day. I think they think in terms of long-term themes. Where's the money going to be made over years, over decades? And also they tend to really run to the markets when others are running away. So on dislocations, they're in a position to really add exposure. And we saw that even with the April pullback, right? So we had, 5% pullback, and the majority of our clients were looking to add exposures to names and sectors they liked there.
So there are tactical occasions,
Of course,
I suppose. So,
yes.
like I use an example of Stan Druckenmiller coming on our network. He runs the Duquesne family office, but he still looks at something like an NVIDIA. Without you discussing NVIDIA per se as a individual name, just the idea of being tactical at a moment where you look at the landscape and say, okay, I'm sensing a bit of froth, even in a long-term theme that I believe so heavily in.
Yeah, it's a good question. And maybe I'll just take a step back and talk a little bit about the Mag 7, because we've been actually spending a lot of time on this. Obviously, a tremendous amount of growth in the market has come from this. And, they're not cheap stocks, but if you look at the earnings growth year over year, Q1 earnings, earnings are up 48%. And they're the same price that they were. They traded at 30 times a year ago. They still trade at 30 times, right? So they've delivered on their valuations. And I think they represent really important parts of innovation in the market. They have very strong balance sheets, lots of cash. They're spending money on CapEx, which wasn't necessarily happening a year ago, where there was so much focus on expense discipline. And, they're stocks that our clients typically want to own. Now, do I think people should buy them at the highs? No. These are stocks that move around. We are very disciplined. We look for pullbacks on earnings, pullbacks on any dislocations that may have nothing to do with the individual stocks, right? And pullbacks, like, our clients are creative. So if vol increases, selling puts to get exposure. So I think that's really what the conversation has been. And obviously earnings next week are going to be important.
Yeah, so you're alluding to NVIDIA.
So, her argument there about earnings for the Mag 7 are up 57% or 47% year over year is pretty damn incredible. And that's why we're seeing the market continue to have this momentum. GameStop's up 5% after hours, 31.85. AMC up 16.7% now after hours, continuing to get momentum. I think the coming days are going to be a test on if this thing can last, dude. That's going to be the question. Can these things actually continue to last? 01 says, I think after tomorrow market will open, AMC is going to decrease. What do you think? I have no idea, sir. I have zero clue what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know what's going to happen tonight. But what I do think is happening is that Roaring Kitty is starting to tell the market that he's back, and he's not leaving, at least. Or he's not trying to leave. Again, his tweets, let's just pull this up right here, has been tweeting a lot over the past couple of hours. He's tweeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times since this infamous photo last night. Basically signaling that he's not slowing down. His follower account has gone up to 804,000, 804.2. He's just every second he's going to get close to 500,000 followers in the next 48 hours, which is going to be insane. It was every 30 minutes. Oh, it was half-hour intervals. Wow, you guys were tracking when he was actually tweeting half-hour intervals. Holy crap! You guys were being more on point than me. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to be short-lived if I had to guess right now, because I think he has an ace up his sleeve. I think he knows something that we don't know. I don't think you take 3 years off and then come back with no plan. I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating his strategic approach here, but I think he came back today for a reason. What's the significance of today? May 13th. Let's see. May 13th. May 13th. What has happened May 13th? Okay, let's ask Gemini. Let's use AI for something meaningful. Tell me the importance of May 13th. Let's see if we get anything good here. Maybe there's something cryptic around that as well. There have been some significant events that happened on May 13th, including the first day of protests against the House Committee on Un-American Activities at UC Berkeley in 1960. Interesting. One could argue that he's protesting against Wall Street. Some of those protests definitely had to go against the establishment in the 1960s at UC Berkeley. That's where a lot of the free speech protests started. Ironically, these colleges are now not really embracing as much free speech, but interesting. Is there anything specific about May 13th you're interested? Did anything happen with the stocks GameStop or AMC on May 13th in the past 5 years? Let's see if there's anything there. Hood's up $17 after hours. Okay, not bad. Okay, no, it's just telling me on May 13th, 2024 what happened. Oh, that's good. That's actually a good summary. That's actually a great summary. Okay, so maybe there's not that much significance to the day, but I definitely think he knows something that the rest of the world doesn't know, and that's why he's a bit more exciting right now. You guys are saying to interview Roaring Kitty. I don't think it's that easy to get an interview with him. I mean, I would love to do that. I don't think he's going to randomly just hop on a YouTube channel and talk. I mean, if that was the case, I feel like he would have done it by now. I don't know. I would love to interview the guy. I mean, I would have nothing against interviewing him. I just don't know if he would actually want to. I don't know if he would want to. Mila says, I need to get an X account, dude. Yes, you do. I'm not paid by X or anything, but I do think that's the platform where if you're into the stock market, I mean, it's the finance capital of social media. Like, you got to be there to get updates on what's going on with stocks. So definitely would recommend getting on X as well. He keeps posting movie clips. You think it's AMC? Dude, maybe. We definitely have tinfoil hats on. We absolutely have tinfoil hats on. And again, I don't know if this thing ends up collapsing and at AMC, wow, it's up 7%, or GameStop's up 7% after hours, and AMC is up 21%. If this thing ends up collapsing and these stocks both drop 90% in the next weeks, then it was all a little game. But I think he's back and he has a plan, and he's not going to let this thing just flop that easily, And he knows how much people have been waiting. People have been waiting for 3 years for him to say something. Not in my wildest dreams that I think 2024 we would have a Roaring Kitty comeback. I didn't think that would happen. We have so much shit going on. We have Nvidia that needs to maintain momentum. We have Tesla's FSD. We have companies like Palantir that this is a big year for them to execute. Jerome Powell trying to save the markets with the soft landing. We have so much going on. Did not think this would be in the middle of the year how the markets potentially play out. But I guess we'll see. What happens. Are you buying AMC? No, I'm not buying AMC. Imagine he posts a new thesis about GME. Maybe it's not about the short float anymore. Maybe it's something more important. Let's see the insider selling around GameStop. GameStop insider selling. Let's see. I think there's been a decent amount of it, if I'm not wrong. So let's go to GameStop. So this is insider selling. Last sale we had was, pretty much all of these are sales. There's some options that are being purchased. Ryan Cohen, has he sold recently? Oh no, he bought. Wow. Cohen hasn't sold. He bought 400,000 shares for $10 million for $22 a share. He's up double on those, or not double, like 70% on those. And that was back in 2023. So that was the last time Ryan Cohen has not sold. Interesting. Very interesting. There actually isn't an insane amount of selling here. Maybe that's another thing that Roaring Kitty knows, that the management is actually aligned with a strategic pivot if if there's enough momentum there, and maybe he's just here to give the momentum. Maybe that's something to think about as well. That could be happening there. Cohen paid Roaring Kitty. I mean, if that happened, they're going to have to keep that under wraps because there is no amount of marketing GameStop could pay than to give Roaring Kitty as much money as he wants to tweet one meme. That one meme just added $5 billion to their company and probably going to be more. There's no amount of marketing they could have ever done to get the stock up like what they did with that. So, I mean, I doubt it happened, but if it did happen, I mean, that would... now, granted, I don't think Roaring Kitty's the type of guy to take money to pump a stock. I think, first of all, I think he would make more money just buying the stock and doing it himself. But I think also maybe there's a deeper meaning and deeper purpose there for what he's doing here. All right, so that's what we got in terms of the GameStop coverage. I guess we'll see what keeps happening over the coming days, and we'll see where this plays out. Mattis says this guy had 3 years to find another GME. Well, that's, I think, the plot twist. Did he find another GME? And if he did, this GameStop price action is BS, right? Because if he comes out tomorrow and says, "Hey guys, I like SoFi" or something, like the things get really interesting. Granted, I think it's GameStop or AMC. It's just going to be a question of when he makes it public, or if he explicitly but inexplicitly, confirms that he's back in one of those stocks. Bitcoin right here, 63,000. We got Robinhood after hours at 1702. Reddit, again, up 8.7% on the day. This is going to be good for Reddit's business and Robinhood's business. Celsius up nicely. Look at Celsius trying to get back to $90, 4.5% on the day. CPI comes out in 2 days, folks. That's going to be the big news of the week. We'll see what happens there when we get CPI. And if CPI comes in cold, maybe the meme stocks rally even more, because now you got CPI and inflation coming down as a catalyst. And that should help regular equities as well. Palantir here, $20.92. Palantir did hit 21.15, now at 20.94 to end the day as well. Thoughts on Walmart earnings? Did Walmart already had earnings, right? I think a while ago. Walmart right now is at $60. Yeah, Walmart had earnings a while ago. I like Walmart. They did the split and they're at all-time highs, if I'm not wrong. So I wouldn't really get excited to. Yeah, it's at all-time highs. I'm not initiating a position in Walmart. It's exciting. I mean, they had a really good earnings at least last quarter, if they didn't have it this quarter. But it's Walmart. Like, I don't think there's a ton of alpha left in Walmart. It's one of those stocks that if you've been holding for a long time, you keep holding, there's no reason to sell, but there's not a super exciting reason to get into Walmart. But the stock split has made it more attractive for people that wanted to get in. And then Chipotle will be splitting up soon as well. I think in like a month, Chipotle is going to go from 50. It's going to be like $60 because it's going to split 50 times. All right, that's it for me. I will see you guys. I think we're doing Finance Drinkers at 9 p.m. tonight, so we'll be on the pod. For those that are not on Twitter, let me put my Twitter in the chat. Please make sure to follow on Twitter. Make an account on Twitter if you're not following on Twitter. And I'll be tweeting live updates every single day, and we'll keep going from there. I'll be back tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. If you are new to the channel, we cover the stock market every single day, market open, market close. We don't only cover GameStop. I know it's been big in the news today. Tomorrow morning, we'll probably cover it, but we're going to try to limit it to 10, 15 minutes and then move on to a lot of other topics that are interesting. But today, I mean, the thing runs up 100% and gets halted 5 times in 10 minutes. You got to cover what's going on. So that's why the majority of the day has been focused on GameStop. Kitty's live? No way. There's no way Roaring Kitty's live. There's no way. If he's live right now, that would be crazy. If he's live right now, he's not live. He's not live. But if he goes live, this is his channel. If he goes live, dude, oh boy, things are good. He's back on YouTube. Well, he hasn't posted a video and he hasn't gone live. But let's see if he does. He hasn't yet. If he does, we're gonna have to cover that because that's gonna be pretty crazy, dude. If that happens. This story is just getting started, folks. 2024 plot twist no one expected, but it's happening. It's not my birthday, guys. Thank you for the people wishing happy birthday, even though you guys are trolling. It's not my birthday, so for the new subscribers here, this chat likes to troll me, and it's not my birthday, so I appreciate the sentiment, but it's not my birthday today. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. on the Market Open. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.